Well, I've been having some hard times lately. Seems like all my life my luck's been down. Getting kind of weary. I guess I was born to be unlucky with my unlucky blues. I don't have one friend. Folks turn their back when I'm around. And where I roll, it's like the grass turns brown. No one will come near me. That's okay, because I went down the river, tried to put myself away. Dude jumped in to save me. Spoiled my perfect day. That sounds like motivation, doesn't it? A lot of people look at me, and I woke up this morning, I can't brush my teeth, comb my hair, shave my face, can't dress myself, bathe myself. I didn't go to the bathroom on my own. And somebody strapped me in my chair so I don't fall out. I've got a strap around my arms because I like to drive fast. I don't drive past the speed limit, though. You know something? A kid looked at me, he goes, "Why do you have that strap around you?" I said, "Because I'm a wild and crazy guy. And if they let me loose, look out." Well, I don't know about you, but I'm the master of one thing. I can't control most circumstances, situations. Problems are past. Problems today, I have control of one thing. I'm the master of my attitude. Attitude is the biggest thing here for us today, and it is our choice. I went to a youth correctional institution. This kid came up. I asked him questions about why he did certain things. He said, "Well, the dude made me mad. I had to mess him up." I said, "That's a lie. No one can make you mad. You choose anger." So maybe we could choose a positive attitude today. I've got to tell you something funny. I don't know what it is about animals, but animals, they stare at me. They check me out. See, and these animals are smart, and they get to talking to each other, and I see it. It's like, check out the guy in the wheelchair. He don't move. They got him tied down. Let's attack him. I've been so attacked by animals, dogs and cats, and the other day I got attacked by a Canadian honker. You guys get those around here? Those geese? Those things are wicked. They got bad attitudes. I don't care who you are. And you know something? I was in San Diego, California. I was minding my own business one day. Went down to the beach. I took a little break. Yeah, I was working hard on my master's degree. Anybody have a master's degree in the house? A couple of you guys. Cool. Well, I was working hard on it. Yeah, I got a stick in my teeth and a keyboard right there, and I'm like, tsh, tsh. I look like a chicken when I type, but I get my typing done. I can do 22 words a minute. That's pretty fast for a mouthy guy right there. I use spell check all the time, but I can type. Anyway, so my buddy walked in. He says, "Ron, you look down in the mouth." That's not funny. He said, "Dude, you don't look happy. What's the matter with you?" I said, "Well, I'm having a hard time getting through a master's degree. It's tough enough with two hands, let alone one mouth." He said, we need to go to the beach. Let's go to the Pacific Beach." I said, "Okay." So we drove to Pacific Beach. I remember he parked my car or my van in the wheelchair accessible parking spot. You know that blue square with the white guy in there? Why is it white? Anyways, so I parked in my spot. Don't park in my spot, because I have a wheelchair lift. I'll put it right down on top of your car. Boom. I always wanted to do that. Did I just say that? So I put my wheelchair lift out, and it makes a bunch of noise. And everybody on the boardwalk there was staring. What's going to come out of the van? So I know a little bit about dry ice. Water, you put a little water on dry ice, it makes smoke, and all the smoke rolls out that side door, you know, and then like Robo-Ron rolls out there. What's that? See that? Chin-controlled wheelchair. Chin-controlled. Get it? Chin. Yeah. Anyway, so I got this chin-controlled wheelchair for $30,000. I got ripped off. Where's my CD player? I should have a booming system. Oh, never mind. So there I was. I got to remember I'm not talking to a bunch of kids here. Am I? Oh. And people are staring at me. Now, why do people stare at me? Well, because you're different. You know, you got a disability, just in case you didn't know that. Well, really? So I'm staring at you, and I'm thinking, you got a disability too. What's your emotional wheelchair look like? Your psychological wheelchair, your relationship wheelchair? Is there a wheelchair in your life? The problem with this is you can see mine, I can't see yours, and we live in America, so we hide it. We fake it till we can make it. Well, I don't fake it very well. You have to deal with me, and I got to deal with me, and sometimes people avoid me. And that's why we hide our disabilities. But we all have a disability in the house. We need to overcome our disabilities. The secret is overcoming. So I'm sitting there on the boardwalk, and I'm looking up and down, and I said to my friend, what kind of friend are you? And he said, what are you talking about? I said, what kind of friend takes me to a non-wheelchair accessible beach? Where's the ramps? He said, there's no ramps. I said, that's discrimination, segregation, separation. He said, what's that mean? He's a surfer dude. He didn't go to college. I said, well, I'm not sure what those words mean either, but sound really good, don't it? Big words. Anyways, he says, you want to be down on the beach? I'll take care of you. What are you going to do? Build a ramp? No. I got a lawn chair. I'm going to lay it down there in the sand, and I'm going to come pick you up out of your chair, and I'm going to carry you down there, and I'm going to lay you in the lawn chair, and you can hang out with everybody. Won't that be cool? I said, you are the man. But I don't think so. He said, well, why not? Well, how do you plan on carrying me? Over your shoulder, fireman style, or in your arms like your girlfriend? Because it matters how you carry me. He says, Ron, this is profound. Check it out. It doesn't matter what people think. That's what you thought when you looked in the mirror this morning, right? It doesn't matter what people think. We're so motivated by what people think that we become people that we are not. We have this ideal self and the real self, and the ideal self is always out here. And if anybody gets past that and finds out who we really are, the real self, we might be rejected. And we fear rejection. Oh, yeah. I was benching 300 pounds when this happened. I was a football fullback, going to play for Oregon State. That was my dream. I was muscular, big wrestler's neck. Then this happened. Don't matter what people think, Ron. Yeah, right. I know what I'm talking about. I live this every day, day in, day out. I know that we need a better attitude about our disabilities. We can talk about who we are. Wouldn't that be cool? And get to the real self, solve some problems, die with some peace in our hearts. That'd be cool. Anyways, so he's right. It doesn't matter what people think. I wanted to be on the beach. So sure enough, he gets under my legs, gets behind my back, hikes me up into his chest, going to carry me like his girlfriend. His cheek was right there. The devil made me do it. I kissed him on the cheek. Mwah. He stops. Dude, you ever kiss me again? I will so drop you. Just joking. He lays me in the lawn chair. He was real nice to me that day. He fixed me up, made me look like a guy. Because you can cross me up, you can paint my fingernail. I mean, yeah, I'm like the Raggedy Ron doll, you know. So he fixes me up, spreads my knees a little bit, and he's staring at me. I said, why are you staring at me? He said, dude, you look normal. Well, excuse me, what's normal? Are you normal? Because I don't want to be you. What's normal? You see, I'm paralyzed from the neck down. Cannot move. I can't feel my body. I see it. I want to move it. I try hard. I'm paralyzed from the neck down. What's your excuse? Paralyzed from the neck up? Don't. That's the biggest disability right there between your ears. So that's why attitude is so important. I got a few ingredients that I'm going to talk about. And the first one, I really want to, I want to talk about purpose. I want to talk about perspective, attitude. I want to talk about potential. I want to talk about a plan. And I want to talk about persistence. Persistence. Man, it was hard the first time I wrote with my mouth. This is not a fine motor movement, this neck. This is really hard. Oh, man. First thing I wrote, it was Father's Day. I love you, Dad. I felt like I disappointed my dad. He was a tough guy. Could have played for Green Bay Packers. I worked hard. He showed up at my games. He pat me on the back. I never heard him tell me he loved me. It was hard. What's he think? It don't matter what people think. So there I was on the beach. Let's get back to the funny part. And my buddy says to me, hey, you going to be okay? I'm going to go down by the water and play Frisbee. I said, I promise you one thing. I won't be right here when you get back. Because I might look normal, but I can't move. He took off. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I just looked across the blue sky. I saw the oceans crash. I heard, wow, this is beautiful. I changed my perspective. It changed my attitude. I went from being kind of negative, this is not wheelchair accessible, is everybody staring at me, focusing on the hard, getting it through that master's degree, a thesis. Man, I could focus on so many negative things. Man, the news, you turn it on, negativity. Well, if you breed negativity, what do you think you're going to get? So why don't we change by being a little more positive? Is there something in this day? I messed my pants. Oh yeah, I messed my pants the other day. Oh, this is not positive. This is smelly. How am I not going to focus on that? I made a joke about it. You know, I got through it. And now I'm telling you. And you're thinking, you didn't need to tell us that. So there I am. And all of a sudden, I'm tired. I've been working hard. You know, you're on the beach. You take a little snooze. I closed my eyes, about fell asleep. I heard a noise. I looked off into the sky. Here come a pelican. I've never seen a pelican. I'm from Brownsville, Oregon, okay? Brownsville, Oregon. So I'm watching this big old bird flying, and I'm thinking, that's an awesome creature there, man. Wow, how does he hold all that body weight up? And he just flew over and splat. Did that just happen? I am like the only quadriplegic on the beach. The only guy that can't move. And there's a bajillion people everywhere. And he dumped the load on me. I'm sure he was up there. He's like, oh, Ron Heagy's wheelchair. Ron Heagy. Because he dropped a load. It didn't land on my arm or leg where I cannot feel it. It hit me right in the middle of my forehead. Now let me educate you. Big bird, big load. This thing was like a scrambled egg on my forehead. And there's nothing I could do. Well, I didn't tell you that just prior to this, a girl walked by. She was pretty. And I remember sitting there looking normal. She looked at me. She actually looked at me. I'm like, that's not normal. Because generally when I'm sitting in this wheelchair, they may take a look, but they don't stare because they don't want to get caught staring. What are you staring at? Oh, I'm your speaker. girl, she's all smiling, and then she waves, hey, I don't want to blow my cover because I'm paralyzed. I'm sitting in this lawn chair. So I invented a wave. Now, everybody, this is where this came from. It's called the quad nod. I invented this. What's up? I am the one. Ron Heagy, roll on Rod. You check it out. The quad nod. So I gave her the quad nod. What's up, babe? She kept on walking by. I'm like, this is cool. That's about the time I started to fall asleep. And I got dumped on by that pelican. And I'm thinking, I can't get this off. And here she come again. Oh, no. Well, I'm trying to hide it. Where are you going to put it, you know? And I looked over there, and she was looking at me, and I said, hey, baby, what's up? She saw that thing on my head. She thought for a minute, why doesn't he get that off? I said, I'm just being normal. Have a good day. She walked on by. I sat there for 15 more minutes. This thing's baked on my forehead. I am so wanting to get rid of this thing. My buddy finally shows up. I was so glad to see him. He took one look at my face. He started laughing at me. He laughed so hard he falls in the sand. I'm like, are you done yet? Because I'd like to get cleaned up. He's like, that's the funniest thing I ever saw. He says, how did you do that? Are you an idiot? I was minding my own business, laying here normal, and some pelican flew by and pooped on me, dude. He cleaned it up. I'm here to tell you, it's a true story. And the moral to my true story, I don't care who you are. Sometimes life dumps on you. And it doesn't matter. Things could be going so well, and bam, somebody dies. Boom. Somebody gets cancer. Boom. You lose your entire body. And when life dumps on you, you got two choices. You can get bitter or what? Better. Negative or positive. You can throw in the towel and say, I quit. You can dump it down the drain. That is too much for me. That problem is bigger than I am. I'm not going to be able to overcome it, so I'm going to grab a bottle and I won't be drunk. I'm going to pop some pills. I'm going to deal with it other ways. You are always bigger than your problem. You are a human being, naturally gifted with amazing talents and abilities. And one thing we can do in the midst of our negative circumstances is not be negative. Believe me, I live it. I got on an airplane not long ago. I was going to fly and do a major speech. I was excited, and it's always nice. When I go to the airport, I got to get out of my wheelchair. They got to carry me on the plane and put me in one of them stupid chairs that are very uncomfortable for you guys, let alone a quadriplegic, has no shoulder straps. And if you unstrap me, dude, I'm like the weeble wobble, and I'm going to fall down. So I like to find a big guy that's got lots of muscles that can carry me and not drop me. That's always a good thing. So I get to this airport, and I get on the plane, lickety-split. I'm joking around saying, you know what, how many carry-ons can you have? They're like, well, you can have 2. I said, well, then I should get on here for free, because I'm a carry-on. I'm a carry-on. She goes, well, we'll have to stick you in the overhead or under the seat in front. Well, I don't know about that. I could just see him trying to get in that overhead, and they're trying to shut the door, and my head keeps flopping out of there. Anyways, just the picture I had, kind of weird. So I get on the plane, I go through this stuff, I land. I have to wait for half an hour for them to get my chair from the belly of the plane. Now, you ever had your luggage dealt with? Yeah, they don't deal with it well. Then you give them a $30,000 wheelchair to load up in the baggage department. Oh, dude, I've seen some terrible things when this thing returns. they've had to replace my wheelchair twice, $30,000. Well, it's no big deal to replace my chair, but it is a big deal if I end up somewhere and I don't have a wheelchair. That's my legs. You just whacked them off. So it came up, minor damage, it's cool. They got another guy to carry me off. He was huge. He looked like he'd been benching houses. I mean, this guy was great. And so one person was under my arms, the other guy under my legs, and he was a guy under the legs. He hiked my legs way up into his chest, which brought my butt really high, which was okay. And they turned around, and they were just like an accordion squishing me, trying to turn me around so I could go backwards out the plane. And as I'm going backwards, there's people in first class that are going on, you know, and I'm looking at them, and they're like, I'm like, you yuppie. I want to slap you. What are you looking at me like that for? I mean, that was my attitude, right? Go by. Everybody's looking at me like, you never seen a guy get carried off the plane before? So then they sit me down in my chair, boom. And I'm like, what's going on? And I just happened to look down because this guy was so strong, lifted me so high, it pulled my pants off. I'm looking down, and I look like I'm sitting on the toilet. And it's like, oh, dude. And I can't cover myself up. I got no hands. And I'm like, psst, I'm trying to get the attention of the person next to me. Finally, they saw it too, and they dove over in my lap. I looked up at the little stewardess gal there. I said, did you peek? I didn't see anything. So this is the things I got to go through every day. It's all about attitude, perspective. So, 17 years old, I got the world by the tail. Yeah, that's what I thought. 2 weeks before this happened to me, a strange thing. I was lifting weights in the mirror. I don't know why you got to look in the mirror, but anyways, I'm watching some muscles. I'm thinking, wow, looking good. And then I looked in my face, and for some reason, just kind of looked in my eyes. I thought to myself, who are you, Ron? Wow. What's your purpose? Play football, get a girlfriend, have a car. Sounds pretty empty. I shook it off because, you know, I'm 17. You can't think about that too long. Next thing you know, I'm going to California. I'm leaving. I'm going to drive spring vacation my senior year of high school to Huntington Beach. Most of the time, I don't speak to people that know right where that is. I was stoked going surfing. I'd done snow skiing. I love sports and surfing. Spring vacation my senior year. I remember getting things ready to go and talking to my parents, and they're making sure I got everything right because I'm driving. And my brother, he came along. He's 13. He's a little guy. He says to me, I want to go with you, Ron. I said, you got to be kidding me. Absolutely not. You're 13 years old. I'm 17, and that ain't cool. He goes, come on, man, please. I want to surf too. I won't bother you, Ron. I said, Mike, absolutely not. He says, come on. All right, I'll tell you what. You wash and wax my car, and you clean my bedroom, and you do my chores for the week, and I'll think about it. He was stupid. He did it all. Big brother thing. Came back. He was exhausted after the week of doing slave work for me like that. And I said to him, that looks good. Did good. Shined my wheels up real nice, too. But you can't go. I mean, he wanted to mess me up, but I was 200 pounds, 6'2". He wasn't going to touch me. So he went and talked to my dad. My dad's bigger than me. I hate it when that happens. My dad walks up. He says to me, son, what'd you do to your little brother? What? You ever seen that in your kid? What? I don't know. He says, well, guess what? You don't get to go unless you take your brother with you. No, man, you're going to wreck my life. I'm on California spring vacation. No. I'm driving down the road, and next thing you know, I got Garfield sitting right there, a big smile on his face. I said, you better wipe that smile. I'm going to smack you in the head. Don't talk to me the whole way. Please, I'm driving through Bakersfield. I'm bored. I started talking to my brother. He told me things about his life. We got into a little conversation. He told me things I didn't know. This is my 13-year-old brother, my kid, my only brother. I don't know what's going on in his life because I don't care about nobody but me. And I says, Mikey, what are you thinking about? You can't be making these choices. You're going to ruin your life. These are not good choices. He's like, these are my friends, man. I said, what kind of friend is going to take you down? That's not a friend. Why didn't you ever talk to me about it before? He said, Ron, I tried talking to you so many times, but you're so proud and arrogant and stuck on yourself. You only care about yourself. You don't care about me, man. I reached my hand over. The last handshake. The last handshake. Reached my hand over. I'm still paying attention. He said, I said, shake my hand. I remember him grabbing my hand. I remember the feeling. It's still in the chambers of my mind. I shook his hand. I said, that's a guarantee. I'm going to be there for you from now on, bro. You're my little brother. You got to be there for our brothers and our sisters. And he looked up at me. He said, I'm going to be there for you too, Ron. I said, well, I won't be needing you, but that's cool because I'm a big brother. I'm driving. Hey, Dad, don't take me. Oh, man, don't make me take my brother. I won't be needing you. The next day, 10 a.m., he saved my life. Guess I need my brother. I remember stepping out of my car that morning. It was one of those days. It seemed perfect. I stepped out of my car, parked my nice waxed car, and I wiggled my toes in the sand. I felt that, you know what I'm talking about? That warm sand flowing between your toes. Don't take that for granted. Wish I could feel that. I remember looking across the top of my car. My brother stood up, and we made eye contact. It was serene. It was peaceful. It was he and I on the Huntington Beach. I felt this little nudge to my heart. You ever feel that? I know we're all hard-hearted, right? We're human. We're not hard-hearted. Oh, I felt like I should tell him I loved him. And I'm rationally going through this. Well, my dad never told me. I got to tell him I'm a guy. My friends aren't here. Hey, Mike, let's hit the beach. That mega moment, I call it, gone. Next thing you know, we're on the boards, we're surfing, crashing, white. I mean, it's awesome. My brother and I, we laid on the towel there, getting a suntan, watching people go by, just resting up a bit. He falls asleep. I got hot. So I decided I want to go cool my body, and I walked to the water's edge for the last time. I remember walking. And I stood there at the ocean, and I remember the waves crashing, and here comes a shore breaker. That was a bigger wave, and so I kind of ran towards it, you know, and launched forward into it. I dove into that wave just as a wave broke, curled over, and flushed 1 million gallons of water on top of my head. And it pushed me down, and there was a sandbar hiding underneath that wave. And I hit that sandbar with my head, and my head went into my shoulder blades, and my neck snapped. And instantly, my body shut off like a light switch. Just and I'm floating motionless out to sea. I'm trying so hard to swim. Come on, you need to swim. You need a kick. I'm going to drown. can't move. I'm panicky. Hold your breath. 2 minutes maybe. I'm rolling out. So 3 things went through my head. It's weird. Everybody says this. He didn't tell your brother you love him. And now you're going to die. Oh, you left your mom standing on the sidewalk. She asked you for a hug. You had yourself an attitude, so you said, see you, Mom. I drove away without hugging my mom goodbye. Last time, hey, go hug your mom and dad. Give somebody a hug. You got arms. Number 3, and kind of the one that rings hardest is, you did nothing good with your life. And now you're going to die. That's where purpose, which is the number one thing, I think purpose kind of comes into play. What is your purpose? And some of you don't want to believe in purpose because it might allude to creation. Well, come on. Our lives have value. We can change the world. We have the potential to do amazing things, far beyond your imagination. And you're still here. You're still alive. It's never too late. So I'm asking God as I'm floating out to sea, give me another chance at this. Just then, my brother said he was laying on the beach. He just felt something was wrong. Now, this is a 13-year-old, 110-pound kid. All of a sudden, he sits up, and he does not see me, and he thinks to himself, something's wrong with my brother. Where's Ron? Okay, I'm under the water. I got 2 minutes. He's got to act soon. He's got to get to his feet. And, he told me his story. I wrote it in my book. But he ran into the waves, frantically searching for me. He saw my shorts flash as I was rolling out. And he swam to me. He went to the bottom. I had no idea he was there because I couldn't feel his fingers touch my flash. So it's numb. He pushed me to the surface. I'm gasping. I'm about to go unconscious. And he pushes my head out of the water. I breathed in the air and never took in an ounce of salt water. Bob back under. He's struggling to get me out of the surf. I remember laying there moments later. He held my head. My body was still floating back and forth. He couldn't quite get. I was 200 pounds of dead weight. He's screaming frantically for help. I could hear an ambulance coming. And there, I looked in my brother's eyes, and I said, Mike, my lungs are shutting down. Everything's quitting on me. I'm feeling like I'm going to pass out. But just before I went unconscious, I said, I got to tell you something. I love you. You give Mom a big hug, all right? And I passed out cold. I came to the next day. I was on life support. I remember opening my eyes and there was a nurse and she asked me, Mr. Heagy, do you know what day it is? I said, I'm not sure how long I've been unconscious. She said it's March 18th. I began to cry. All them tough guy tears, man. I've been holding them back for so long. I just burst into tears. She's like, what's the matter? I said, ma'am, today's my 18th birthday. Welcome to your new life. Hey, big guy, what you gonna do now? Now, most people might give up because you got that choice when life dumps on you. This is a big dump. Now, I can get bitter. Yeah, I could just start getting negative. This ain't fair. Well, life's not fair. Get used to it. Well, I could tell you all the stories of clinically dying. I had a stress ulcer. I lost 14 pints of blood through my stomach. I went through surgeries. I ended up having my neck fused. I was a month in intensive care. My parents flew in that night. Can you imagine getting that call? Yes. Some of you can. My dad and mom walked in. There she was, my mother. I wanted a hug. I got all these machines and tubes around me. She couldn't get her arms around me. My dad didn't know what to do. He kissed my forehead. He said, son, I'm going to pray. That's all I could do. I felt peaceful. My parents there. I didn't need my parents the day before. I'm 18, moving on. Welcome to being a baby. Somebody's got to take care of you. I remember being in rehab months later, shorten up the story here, the saddest day of my life. People ask me, well, like, were you depressed? How long were you depressed? Did you think about dying? Yeah. Everybody has a thought someday of dying. I remember, though, they told me, the nurses, the therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, doctors, they're all in the room. My parents there, too. I'm sitting in my wheelchair with a headrest, can barely move my neck still. I'm upright. Thank God for that. They said, Mr. Heagy, we're going to have to send your son home next weekend. He's not getting any better. He's going to be a quadriplegic for the rest of his life. I thought to myself, life? Call this life? I can't move my arms and my legs. I can't feed myself. I remember going to bed that night. They put me up into my bed, 1, 2, 3, put me there, laid me out. They shut the door, it got dark. I started thinking. I started the stinking thinking. And the stinking thinking is going to get you sinking. I got into depression. Falling fast, lights are going out. I cried and I cussed, was mad at everybody. This isn't fair. I don't want to live. I can't go home like this. Parents got to take care of me like a baby, feed me. So I remember hearing a voice in the darkness of the room. It scared me. Ron, wow, where's that coming from? I sniffed up my tears of pity. Maybe we should do that. Quit feeling sorry for ourselves. It's tough. It is. It's not easy. It's all relative. Your problems are as big as mine. And I remember it was coming from my roommate, Jimmy. Now, Jimmy was hit by a car, and he wasn't wearing a helmet because he made a choice to take it off when his mom wasn't around. Jimmy was 8, right? He was in a coma for 2 weeks. They brought him in to be my roommate. I didn't want him in there. I yelled at him at night because he moaned. Traumatic brain injury. He was saying my name. He wasn't supposed to talk. And he said my name. Nobody's there. Ron, I sniffed up my tears. Jimmy, you talking? I love you. Nobody's made me mad. Can't love me. You don't even know me. I don't like this feeling. And then the lights came on in my head. Changed my attitude forever. I'm still Ron Heagy. I'm still a man. Yeah, I lost all my body functions, but I still have a brain. I got to quit focusing on what I cannot do and think about what I can do. There may be ways to invent things I can do. He's not ever going to play football like I did. He'll never use his mind like I still can. And he's hearing me weep, and he's telling me he loves me. Wow, That's what changed my attitude forever. And years later, 33 years sitting on my butt doing nothing. That's not true. Anyways, I'm still just as paralyzed, but my attitude's never been the same. Oh yeah, I've been through ups and downs. It's a roller coaster of life. But I left that hospital with that changed attitude, and I decided to tap into my potential. So you got purpose. Once you change your perspective, your attitude, here's the peas. These are the peas in the pod of success, right? These are my peas. Speaking of peeing, did you ever wonder how I pee? Now you can wonder. So there I was. I changed my perspective. I started looking into what is my purpose? And I taught myself how to write with my mouth. And then I learned to type with a stick in my teeth on a computer. And I enrolled in college. And I took a class. And my mom, when I came home one day and sitting around saying, I'm bored. I was 18, I'm bored. She said, well, why don't you paint? I'm like, what? She said, why don't you paint? I said, Mom, paint what, the house? I'm paralyzed. She's like, no, why don't you paint? I read this book about Johnny Erickson Tata, and she paints with her teeth. And I said, that's Johnny, and I'm Ronnie, and I'm not painting. I'm a football player, Mom. She goes, you're not a football player any longer. Better get over that. Why don't you paint? I said, I ain't going to do it. She said, well, then I'm not going to feed you your dinner. I said, what? She goes, just kidding. So I did try, thanks to my mom, in memory of my mother, Teresa. Dedicate this speech to you. She passed away at 66. She's my very best friend. She took care of me 4 years, gave of herself to pick her son's nose and clean him up when he messed himself, help him believe. She gave me my never give up attitude. She and my dad's heart totally softened. One day I sat feeling like I'd messed it up for my dad. I was crying. And he saw me and he said, what's the matter? I said, Dad, I feel like I've failed somehow with you. He came over, he grabbed my head, held my head on his big old chest, and he started crying with me. He said, you're a bigger man than I could ever be. He said, I love you. I'm very proud of you. And it rocked my world. So powerful. Biggest thing I can tell you. I remember graduating from San Diego State University. I'm down there on rehearsal, for graduation. I'm excited. I'm going to graduate with a master's in social work. Yeah, I got myself a 3.7 grade point average. That's not bad for a 2.0 football player. It's amazing what you can do when you use your head. So I was pretty excited. I was the only guy that's ever done this, TV cameras were there. San Diego Union was there to do a little article on me. I thought, wow, that's cool. All right, I'm about to find out what my purpose is, I guess. So I'm sitting down in the grass, and the dean, he says, you gonna be okay down here tomorrow? I said, what do you mean? He says, you gonna be okay sitting down here? I said, where's all my buddies gonna be? And he said, well, they're gonna come up on stage. I said, no, I'm not gonna be okay. He says, well, what do you want us to do? I said, if you build it, I will graduate. I said, build it. Yeah, build a ramp, aren't you educated? He said, well, that's going to cost a lot of money. I said, well, it cost me a lot of money to go to your college. So the next day, sure enough, they built a ramp just for me. And I remember it was long because it was a tall stage, you know. And I went so slow when they called my name up that ramp. Going to take advantage of what they spent. And I remember getting to the top. And, you know, then the guy, you know, I'd already told him, you know, I used the stick, you know. He knew, but, you know, he forgot. And he goes to hand me my diploma. And I just looked at him. He goes, just kidding. He gave it to me. He said, hey, Ron, you want to say a couple words? Man, right then I felt like I should pee. Good thing I got a leg bag, man. I can go for miles. Anyways, so I said, no, I don't want to say anything because I'm like, I want to be a high school counselor, you know, a little one-on-one, maybe group, but I'm not saying anything in front of all these people, TV cameras and everything. He said, just say something. So I said, you know what, I can only say that if you believe you can achieve, that if you have inspiration, if you have motivation, if you are determined, if you believe in yourself and others, you just not give up, and you mix that with enthusiasm, you're going to be successful because your life has purpose. You got value. You can change your attitude, tap into your potential, and make a plan to succeed, and be persistent. Be persistent. Oh, it was hard when I first started my degree, but here I am to share this moment with you. Oh, it was cool because the next day the newspaper came out. I was on the front page. It was like, the only man that truly mouthed his way through college. Ron Heagy graduates. And I left that college with my master's degree, and I wanted to get a job so I can get off of welfare. Back then there was like government cheese, and remember that? Ugh. Nasty stuff. You can only cook that so many different ways. And I wanted to make some money. My caregiver needs $6,000 a month just to take care of me. That means I need to make $12,000 a month just to have $6,000 a month to spend. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. We could talk about the social system. My second disability. I got through 20 interviews. No one would hire me. I guess maybe they couldn't see past me. I wanted to encourage them to walk into the interview with their eyes closed and then talk to me for a while. Then open your eyes. I can't say all of it was because of my disability, but I sure qualified. Could you imagine me as a high school counselor? I don't know. Talking to these kids about overcoming problems. It's obvious I got a challenge. Aren't you glad you could pick your nose today? You know, there's a saying, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. Not if you're my friend. Maybe that's why I don't have many friends. So there it was. Sad. Not going to give up, but sad. Sitting in a restaurant, my coach walked in, Percy Benedict. Bless his heart, man. He saw me. He goes, hey, Ron, you back in town? I said, yeah, I spent 8 years in San Diego. I have my master's degree, and I'm like putting on the ideal face. And he looked at me. He goes, you okay? I said, real face. No. I worked so hard. Nobody take me seriously, man. I want to get off of welfare. I can't get a job, coach. He says, you know what I told you when you played football? Yeah, you get knocked down, you got to get back up again. He says, yeah, and you got to have a buddy that's going to help you up. Brush off your shoulders, smack you in the hind end. He said, that's me. He says, I want you to keep going. Don't you give up. I won't, Coach. Thank you. I needed that. He says, why don't you come out to the school, share it with a couple students, Tell them your story a little bit. So no, I think you ought to. I don't think so, Coach. Motivation, public speaking, it scares me to death. He says, well, you just come on out. He says, I'll see you Friday. He walked out the door. I said, no. Well, I didn't want to be a wimp, so I showed up, and I rolled into my old high school from a little meeting with some kids. I don't know what I'm going to do. All of a sudden, everybody's funneling past me, going in the gymnasium. Where's everybody going? Hey, where's everybody going? This dude says, this kid's like, we're having a school assembly. Some guy in a wheelchair is going to talk to us. He tricked me. No way. I put my chain control chair in gear, and I turned right around. On 360, I'm out the door, and my coach catches me. Where are you going? I said, I'm not going to go in there and speak to that gymnasium full of kids. There is no way. He said, quit being a wimp. As soon as he said that, I just said, doggone it. And I went in there. I had no clue what I was going to say. I spoke for 15 minutes. And these kids stood to their feet and clapped. And I'm like, what did I say? And then I realized what my purpose is. Wow, all that training. So that I can counsel people in a bigger way. I can inspire people in a bigger way. Sure, it would be just as important to sit and counsel a kid one-on-one. But if I can inspire more people in this day and age of negativity, to be positive, to not look down, because when I look down, I see it. I'm not denying it, but if I look down, I go down. So it would stand to reason if I look up, I can go up. And when I look up, I see you. I see others. I don't just see myself. So what can I do for you? It's teamwork makes the dream work. Are you on my team? My team is life. Team of life. Oh, I know. Some of you see some terrible things. I have 3 uncles that were police officers. I was on ride-alongs. One time my uncle, he said, I'll give you $20 if you go beat that kid up. I said, I can't do that. He said, boy, I sure like it to do that. I said, I can't do that. I can't believe you're asking me to do that. He said, you don't have any clue what it's like. And I said, well, I'm not going to beat anybody up. He says, I wouldn't expect it to. Oh, I got a challenge. Came my way. Doing all this traveling and seeing all these kids in wheelchairs. I'm asking them what they wish they could do. I had spoken to a few million kids doing public school assemblies. Imagine that. They all show up in a gymnasium, and I'm down there, and I'm not doing any song and dance. I can dance. And I've been speaking for 20 years. Wow. Oh, these kids in wheelchairs, I ask, what do you wish you could do? Because they really get inspired when they see me in their school. And these kids are struggling with their disabilities. A lot of them are not seen. And some of the kids would say, well, we wish we could get a job in the summertime. I know what that's like. Well, I'd like to be able to go to camp. Oh, really? Go to camp? That seems fair. Yeah, but they're not wheelchair accessible camps, these summer camps. And I thought, that can't be true. So I did some research. I didn't find very many fully wheelchair accessible camps to all disabilities. So I ended up with a dream. I had a dream. All right, somebody else stole my line. Wonderful, wonderful Martin Luther. Yeah, there's a whole story on that. I ended up in New York City. His son did a little project filming my life. They called it Wisdom of Dreams. And they filmed my dream come true of what I'm going to tell you. And they called me up and asked me if I minded if it would be the premiere show for their wisdom. I said, absolutely, that'd be great. And they said, we'd like to fly you to New York City. I flew into New York City September 10th to wake up to my little showing of my premiere downtown New York City, and 9/11 happened. I was there. So that was FYI. But I remember waking up from my dream. And in my dream, I saw a wheelchair accessible camp. I mean, everything was wheelchair accessible. You can walk a ramp and you can roll a ramp. So let's build a ramp. So all over this place, big trees down by the river, a wheelchair accessible camp with a wheelchair accessible tree house. That's cool. Probably was my own desire in my dream to go into a wheelchair accessible tree house. And when I woke up, I thought, wow, wouldn't that be cool? I got to find somebody rich to build that thing because it's going to cost a lot of money. I started asking people with money. I go, oh, that's a great idea. Anyways, all of a sudden, it's like, you're the man. You build the dream. Yeah, I can do this. I told somebody about it. I'm going to build a camp fully wheelchair accessible for all kids. Going to have a wheelchair accessible tree house. Cool. How you going to swing your hammers? Can you swing a hammer? Yes. Come on, let's build this camp. Somebody else said, well, you don't have any money. You know, speaking in public schools, they don't pay him very much money. How you going to build this camp? I said, do you have $1? Yes. Give me your $1. I want to meet 1 million people just like you. That's $1 million. Oh, you know what? I could have died and gone to heaven. When I sat there on this wheelchair accessible facility, I mean, it was within 3 years of my dream. It should have taken 5. It was called Camp Attitude, Oregon. It's fully wheelchair accessible for all disabilities, red, yellow, black, and white, and disabled can hang out together. And a lot of smiles go on. When you're a teenager with all your bad attitude problems, full access to your body parts, hang out with some kid with a disability, it changes your life. You go away saying, he gave me more than I gave him. She gave me more than I gave her. So I'm no longer there. I resigned from it in 2006 because I didn't really want to operate the thing. I wanted to see it built. And I could have died and gone to heaven when this little boy, my hero, rolled up from Modesto, California. You see, I almost gave up my speaking because I wasn't making any money. I started watching too much TV, and there was all these things on TV I did not have. And I thought to myself, I gotta make some money so I can buy me some stuff. Because I need that stuff. I'm going to use my stuff for a little while, and I'm going to put it in my garage. And stuff's going to fill up my garage so I can park my car outside of the garage. And then I'm going to have a garage sale and sell all my stuff for pennies on the dollar so I can buy more stuff to put back in there. So I'm going to give up my speaking so I can have the American dream. As I'm going into my last speech, Modesto, California, I remember sitting there waiting, and they wheeled a kid in a wheelchair in. And I always try to make an impression and go over and talk to him, you know. And I went over there with him. I had a pretty bad attitude, but I could put on the ideal self. And I said, hey, what's your name? My name is Ron Heagy. And his eyes were blue. Man, he was a good-looking kid. And he's staring at me. just felt like he was looking at my soul, like he could see what was going down. And he didn't speak. His head was strapped back like that. And I said, what's your name? And his nurse said, his name is Kevin. I said, Kevin, how old are you? His nurse said, he's 13. I said, Kevin, what happened? Do you see what I'm doing? What am I doing? I'm speaking to the individual with a disability. Do not speak to the person next to me if you want to ask about me. If they have somebody else that talks for them, that's fine. But address the human being. I remember the other day I was in a restaurant. Some waitress came up, and she was asking the person next to me, well, what did he like to order? And I could tell she was fresh. And so I thought, I'm going to play around with this girl a little bit. So the person who was with me said, well, why don't you ask him? Because he can talk. What a concept. So I know this is bad, all right? Just bear with me. She goes, what would you like to order, sir? And I went, she's like, I went, just kidding. School, education. I was bad. I know it was bad. I said, I'm sorry. And I don't think she would probably do that again. Talk to the person with the disability. You know, Kevin was 13, and he was born with his disability. And I said, how bad is it, Kevin? I'm paralyzed from the neck down. I can't move. And his nurse said, Kevin's paralyzed, born paralyzed from his nose down. I mean, his life is... He doesn't like it. He's 13. The drool comes out. He's got a there's nothing wrong with his mind. He's never had a Pepsi, tasted a chocolate bar. He's never been able to say, hey, Mom, I love you. He's never given anybody a hug. He's sitting right there staring at me with my bad attitude. And then his nurse says, Mr. Heagy, you don't know it, but you're Kevin's hero. He wants to be a motivational speaker just like you. I started bawling. I'm sure Kevin was like, what is wrong with this guy? It's like, I couldn't stop it. I hate it when that happens. You know, you're a guy and you're like, yeah. And you try to walk away from it. Well, I couldn't walk away. Get it? Anyways, I said, Kevin, yeah, wow, you're awesome, man. I want to talk to you when I'm done, all right? We got to hang out. He's like, you can just see, he's like so excited. And I got up on the stage with a changed attitude, changed heart, and I spoke. And I decided, thanks to Kevin, that I would not give up on my speaking. Because I don't need to make a bunch of money. I need to do what I am supposed to do. My purpose is, and continue doing that. And that does bring me joy, and it does bring me peace and happiness. And you know something? I thank God for Kevin. Weeks later, months later, I got a call from his mom. She said, Mr. Heagy, we have some exciting news. And I'm saying, what's that? She says, there's an eye gaze computer system out. And with this computer, Kevin could operate it with the movement of his eyes. There's a camera that focuses on the pupils. And so wherever he looks, the mouse moves around the screen. And if he stops there and he blinks, he can click, double click, he can drag, he can speak. And I thought, wow, let's do it. She says, I need your help raising some money. I said, how much? She says, $23,000. No problem. I had no idea how I'm going to raise $23,000. My buddy down the street has a boat. I've not seen him ever use his boat. And I know it's worth $23,000. So I went over to him. I was giving him a suave talk. I'm like, you know what? You haven't used that boat for years, bro. I said, I got a purpose for you. Let's sell that boat. I mean, give me $23,000 so I can buy a kid a computer so he can talk for the first time. Can't sell my boat, dude. I'm going to use it someday. Right now I'm working a lot, but I'll use it someday. Dude, yeah, I get it. So I decided, you know what? And I don't even have it on because I gave it to a kid who had cancer, little boy, 5 years old, my little smiley face I normally have. Do I have one of those in the suitcase? Okay. I'm going to have you get that. I show you my little smiley face. I had these made because I thought, well, how can we? Okay, so I talked to Kevin's mom, and I said, Kevin, what's one thing you wish you could do? And his mom said, you know, the one thing Kevin wishes he could do, really, is he wishes he could smile. He wishes he could smile. Yeah, he doesn't understand why people who can smile don't smile. He says he wishes he could smile. So I thought, what a concept. And had these little guys made. It's got little wheels on it. No, it's not legs, it's wheels right there. This is rolling, man. This is rolling on. It's not rolling backwards. It's not rolling off. It's rolling on. And it smiles. And you know what's nice about these plush little guys? Is you can throw it against the wall, you can stomp on it, you can pick it up after running over with your car and look at it, and guess what? It's still smiling. What kind of person are you? Yeah. So I started selling these little guys for $5 to raise $23,000 for Kevin. I said, let me help Kevin smile. I'm going to get him a computer. And you know, he got that computer, and I showed up, and he was operating it. He got into it so fast. He's actually really smart. Can you imagine that? You know, one of the smartest guys in the world. You know who he is? Stephen Hawkins. Look him up on the internet. He cannot move, but his eyes do. And he's a genius. His brain would be locked up if it wasn't for technology. That brain is amazing. He's discovering things of our universe that no one has. And it's amazing. Stephen Hawkins. Okay, so we get that computer. Kevin's talking to me. He says, you want to play a game? Speaks to me through the computer. I said, I don't really want to play a game because I know he's going to whip my buns. So we played a game, and he beat me. I mean, he is loving this thing. And the next thing you know, I'm sitting there on Camp Attitudes Land, looking at the dream, and Kevin arrives, the wheels on for the first time. And he got up to me, and I said, dude, you're one of the reasons why I was so driven with a good word here, passion. I believe in it. I believe in you. This place is for you. You check it out. And we brought a hot air balloon in the next day that actually you could get in it, right? And it was tethered, so it couldn't go very high. And we're all sitting around. I want these kids to get in there, and, you know, go up for a little launch, look down over the trees there in Oregon, the river, South San Am River, and Kevin speaks to his mother, and she says, Kevin wants to know if you're going to go. And I'm afraid of heights. Why did I bring this hot air balloon? I said, of course I'm going to go, And she said, good, because if you didn't go, he's not going to go. Well, Kevin is on a ventilator machine. So he can't be disconnected from the ventilator because he can't breathe on his own. He can't eat. He's tube fed. I remember sitting in a restaurant with Kevin, and I was going to order steak, and then his mom whips out this can of stuff that looks terrible and pour it in his little tube that goes right into his stomach. I thought, I can't eat a steak in front of this kid. And then I said, Kevin, what are you eating? And she shows me. I said, let me have some. I'm going to eat some of that. Kevin, you're having, I'm going to have some of that. And I took a drink of that. And you know how you get that automatic want to hurl feeling? I put it down. It was so nasty. And he thought that was the funniest thing. See, Kevin's laughing because all of a sudden his eyes just water. He's crying. He's just crying. And I'm thinking, you the man. But I got my dad and my brother to lift me up and put me inside that hot air balloon. All these kids are watching me sitting in their little wheelchairs. And I'm going to be scared to death like a sissy girl. And I go up and I'm closing my eyes. And I opened them when I got up there. I thought, wow, this is awesome. It's like 35, 40 feet in the air. Came back down. His mom, bless her heart, she's an angel. She took care of Kevin. Kevin wasn't supposed to make it past 5. He passed away here a couple years ago at 22 years old. She took care of him day and night. She worked a job. She's a single mom raising Kevin. And she took him off the respirator and pumped him with an airbag every breath he needed and got in the hot air balloon with him. And he was looking right at me the whole time. And he went up and he came down. I remember meeting him. And that day when he left that school, changed my life. They picked him up into an old truck, set him in the seat, put his wheelchair in the back, and I wheeled up into a nice fancy van with a lift. And I said, do you want to use my van? Do you want to go for a ride? I'll get in the pickup. So they put me in the pickup, and he took my van back home. And we ended up getting him a brand new van, but that's another story. Kevin's my hero. Obviously, he changed my life. He's changed everybody's life because I would not be here right now. And I'll guarantee you that this was part of the plan in my life, to be here, to see you guys out there watching me and wherever you're at. It's part of the plan to encourage you. It's a tough time. We're going through some tough things, but we can make it. And we can do it better together. So let me end my story, and we can open it up for some questions. So you might think about that a little bit. I thought I'd accomplished my dream, and what else do I have to really get juiced up for? And I remember when I married my wife, I told her that I couldn't have any babies. I've been tested, and I can't have children. And I said, for 25 years, doctors said you're not going to father a child. And I had adopted a little girl when I was married to my ex-wife. We went through pregnancy issues with her. A lot of turmoil in our relationship, but we did end up adopting a beautiful baby. And it happened after I had a dream of speaking in a high school, and a girl came up to me afterwards and said, Mr. Heagy, I'm 15 years old, I'm pregnant, and after your speech, I'm not sure I want to do some of the things I'm thinking about. And I woke up after my ex-wife and I had gone through all this trial of private ways to get pregnant, and I said, I know what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to adopt a little precious child that's already coming into this world. And sure enough, I ended up meeting a girl who was 15. It's weird. I know it's weird. I don't know. That's about the only two dreams I've had that really come true like that. But when she said she was pregnant, I just knew it. And she said, I'd like you and your wife to adopt my baby. So we ended up adopting a little girl, beautiful little girl. I remember kissing her on the face and getting her right in my neck and rubbing my whiskers on her till she cried, and smelling her little feet and chewing on her toes, telling her, Daddy's here. Anyways, we named her Ronnie, R-O-N-I. And Johnny was one of my inspirations. She's a lady that I was telling you about, paints with her mouth. She's in your state. She's done amazing things, providing wheelchairs for the world all over the place. So when we adopted Ronnie, I couldn't think of a better thing than being a father. So when I got married, again, it's not bad, not bad. Most people wonder if I'd ever get married once. So I got married 3 times. I'm getting good at it. Collectively, I've been married 26 years. There's things you can read in my book if you're into romance. But anyways, Kelly, she and I got married. I told her I couldn't have any babies. She knew we could do the wild thing, but I don't have any swimmers. Let me say that. So you know what swimmers are. I mean, you understand this, right? Okay. Bunch of adults here. Hey, the teenagers, I got it down. I know what he's talking about. So I said that, and, it's cool because she had a couple of girls, and I'm going to be a stepdad too. So now I got all girls, and it's great, 3 daughters. And then all of a sudden, she got really sick. 6 months into our marriage, she got really sick, and I thought, oh man, I've been through so many tragedies. What, this is the love of my life. And I remember asking her when she came home from the doctor, what's the matter? She said, I'll tell you later. I'm like, you always want to talk. Why don't you tell me now? I learned something about ladies, that they do like to talk, and that you need to listen to them, but you got to wait till they're ready to talk, and then you listen to them. And if they want to talk about the same thing again, you need to listen to them. Because I know I want to solve their problems for them, but sometimes they just need to talk about it a few times before they get it figured out. And that's okay. You should listen. Don't solve the problem. That's what I wanted. That's what I've been told to tell you guys. I am the boss. So I rolled into my office that night. I was worried to death. And there were flowers there on my desk. I thought to myself, what are the flowers doing on my desk? She's all sick and dying. Why is she buying me flowers? And then she walked in, sad face, like, what? I'm freaking out here, okay? She said, go check it out. I'm like, why are you buying me flowers? She said, go check it out. I like flowers, I really do. You can buy me flowers. But I rolled up there, and I looked at these flowers, really beautiful, and I looked inside the flowers, and there was like a thermometer thing sticking in there. I didn't know what that thing was. And then, what is it, OPB or something? What's it called? Anyways, so there was this, I'm thinking, what? Is that a pregnancy? Are you pregnant? She's like, that's why I've been so sick, barfing every day. I'm pregnant. I'm like, how did you do that? She said, well, you did it. I said, well, I know we did it, but I don't have any swimmers. You must have had a swimmer. Said, I'm pregnant. I said, these things lie? You take another test. 3 tests later, she's still pregnant. I didn't believe it till I saw the ultrasound. 6 weeks later, I heard that little heartbeat. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And I bawled, we're going to have a baby. She wanted to slap me. Okay, so it's like, wow. And when Gracie Lee was born, it's crazy. I mean, who would think that I would father a child after sitting in a wheelchair for 25 years? I never stopped believing. Never stopped dreaming. And so today is a real lucky day for me. I am blessed. Thank you so much for having me, those of you that were in the power to bringing me here. Thank you for that. But I'm honored to have my 2 girls with me. Ronnie, who is now 14, my oldest, and Gracie Lee, who is now 9. And you know something? I laid there in that bed, remember? And I was thinking about taking my life. And I'm so glad that in the darkness of that night, Jimmy said my name. Ron, I love you. It changed my attitude. It gave me hope. I realized that God has a purpose for me and that I can't give up. And I'm glad I did not, because if I'd have given up, my little girl wouldn't be here today. Gracie Lee. She's going to change the world. Yep, she's going to change the world. Yep, Ronnie's going to change the world. They're going to change the world. But they need your help. They can't do it by themselves. And if you're listening and you're a young person, never underestimate the power you have to change somebody's life. Jimmy was 8 years old. He changed Ron Heagy's life. Not the greatest speaker or the preacher, not the Pope. Sorry. But Jimmy. So never underestimate the power you have to change somebody's life with just a few simple words. My brother, I got to tell you this. When I got home from the hospital, I told my parents, do not leave me alone with my brother. Because I'm all tied up. It's going to mess me up. Don't leave me alone with my brother. And they left me alone with my brother. He didn't do anything to me. I'm like, there is forgiveness among the brothers. Well, 2 years went by, and I was in the mall, and I was in a push wheelchair. You know, you can just get this thing going, pushing, jump on it like a skateboard, and we're flying. And we had fun. And he turned sharp, and stopped and put my brakes on, and I looked up, and we're in the bra and panty section. I looked at, dude, why are we in here? We don't have any need for this stuff. And he walks over to the rack. I'm like, don't touch those bras, dude. And I can't move. I can't, there's no chin control. And he turns around, and he's got this bra. What are you doing with the bra? He goes, check this thing out. This will hold footballs. Dude. And I looked in his face, and he had that look. He said, Ron, you remember all them years you messed me up? I said, I was just waiting for the right opportunity to pay you back. Today, you're going to wear a bra. I thought, no, come on, man. Really? I mean, he strapped it around me. It was so big, bad, and bogey. It went around me and my wheelchair and my coat, and he all fixed that up out there like that. And I like, take it off. No, he pushed me out into the mall, right? I got it. And he locks my brakes, walks away. I'm sitting there, people walking by. I'm trying, what's up? Oh, my brother paid me back. Bless his heart. Got me good. But you gotta laugh. You know, one of the secret ingredients to life is enthusiasm. There really is. Laughter is really good for the soul. And you know, I have a video I'm going to show when we're done. It's closing out. I had a dream, another dream, a dream to drive faster than 5 miles an hour, because you know I'd like to go fast, and I never got a speeding ticket, but I like to go fast because I never got caught. No. Anyway, so I told some friends. I said, "Look, I'm gonna drive a car again someday. You know, technology's got to be there." They're like, "Well, it's going to be kind of tough." I'm going to do it. So I was talking to a group of business guys. They're all techie guys, and I spoke about driving again. Hey, somebody give me $30,000 for my next wheelchair. I'll build me a hot rod, you know, a motor, a big one. And I got an email back, and he said, "Are you really serious about driving? Because a bunch of us guys will figure it out, man." And he says, I got a Pontiac I'll donate. I thought, Pontiac Bonneville? And then he showed the picture, and I thought, wow, Pontiac Firebird, 68 Pontiac Firebird? Now we're talking. And so long story short, I mean, these guys came together. People said it was impossible to do it because, you know, how's a guy going to drive with just his face? Do we have that video? Yeah. You want to see it? Okay. That way I can take a break.
I was 18 years old. I looked out over the ocean, and here come a wave. When I went into the wave, it caught my head. It's like I dove into a waterfall. My vertebrae in my neck were shattered. I couldn't move anything from my neck down. There's still hope for everybody. Don't give up.
To give a guy like Ron an opportunity to do something that he thought was completely impossible is just the right thing to do.
I would be able to build me a hot rod.
When I first heard that Ron Heagy was going to drive a hot rod with his face, I believed in it 100%.
You can drive that whole car with that joystick.
This is the first project I've seen of its kind.
I just wanted to push the gas pedal. I wanted to be in control of the gas pedal for 29 years.
Is it actually possible? Can we pull this whole thing together?
I'll be putting him in that rig when he's making the record attempt.
Out of my way, boys.
It's so crazy, it's so wild, it's so ambitious.
If you tell Ron that he can't do something, that just gives him more motivation to go and do it.
Never underestimate the power you have to change somebody's life.
Now you can see the rest of that video if you go on to go on to www.hoperod.com, HOPE, and I actually had a goal. I drove it on the Portland International Raceway during the Rose Festival in front of a bunch of people for the first time. I got up to 52 miles an hour. There was a guy in the back that was there for safety, and we had kill switches and remotes and everything. But I drove it with my teeth, 52 miles an hour around the track. First time anybody, I tried to find if you know somebody that's driven with their teeth before, I'd like to know. But my goal was to do 100 miles an hour. So I ended up taking it out on the flats, and I got it up to 100 miles an hour with just my face, teeth. And then I said, okay, I'm here. I know my wife's going to kill me. I want you guys to get out of the car so I can do it solo and all by myself. which is really kind of scary to think about. I drove at 101 miles an hour. It topped out at 104, so I didn't do too bad. Well, you know what? I hope you're inspired. I thank you for the effort of getting me here, Southern California. I'm going to go after the speech and visit the area where I broke my neck, Huntington Beach, close to the pier, March 18th, 1980. So if I can do it, I can still do it. You can do it. And with, here it is, let's get through the P's. Purpose. Number 2, perspective. Why is perspective number 2? Because attitude is almost as important as your purpose. And number 3, potential. Imagine your potential. Can you drive a car with your face? Sure. And the next one would be a plan. Make a plan. Have a dream. Do the dream. Build the dream. Watch some kids smile. And the last one is be persistent. Just don't give up on yourself. And you're never too old. If you wake up tomorrow breathing, it's going to be a good day. Thank you for your time. God bless you guys. And I want to bring my daughters down here. Appreciate that. They don't like this part. Ronnie is a dancer, and she is a 9th grader this year. And she just got on the Highlights, which is a really cool dance group in Oregon. They won state champion for 12 years in a row, so she made it on that. I'm really excited about that. Gracie's in gymnastics. And Ronnie got a 3.75 this year, right there with her dad. Well, not quite, because I was a 2.0 then. And Gracie Lee. And Katie's with me. She's one of my caregivers. I got 6 caregivers. That's a full-time job, just managing that, let alone my business. And I travel around when I can outside of the state of Oregon and spread my message. RollOnRon.com is my website. Remember I was talking about those paintings, or actually my mom inspired me to paint. These are a few of my oil paintings. I'm an oil painter. I paint with a brush in my teeth, dip in the oils, and paint every stroke with a big fat muscle neck. It was kind of funny. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
You know, Ron, your paintings are beautiful, and I know that they probably have been inspired by one thing or another, but the one with the flag, what's the story behind the flag and the eagle?
Gracie, you want to hold that one up? This, yeah. Okay, yeah, hold it up there. Well, this was inspired when I experienced 9/11. I told you that I was there, and when I came out onto the streets with my wheelchair and I saw people going up and down the streets, wandering like they were lost. Obviously they were. It was only a mile away from where we stayed that the towers came down. I had a vision of this piece. And if you look at it, it's the American flag in the background in the mountains. And then there's a twin tower where the tree is. That becomes a twin tower. And there's kind of a face in the clouds. I call it the face of God, kind of watching over our tragedy here that mankind had produced. And there's also a big aircraft I painted that's outlined in the bottom in the trees in red. And that's hard to see, but once you see it, that's all you see when you look at it. And I envision this, I call it We Remember. The eagle is landing in the tree because if you know something about eagles, they like to make nests in top of dead trees. And new life, we must remember, but yet we must go on. So that's this piece. You see the picture of the plane, or do you see the plane? Yes. Do you? Some of you are lying. Sure, yeah, I was right there. All right, thank you. Another question? You want to ask the girls a question?
Well, Ron, how old do they have to be before they can date?
About 28. I know it's not probably legal, but I got 2 shotguns, and I'm going to mount them on either side of my chair. You know, look like a tank. Mm-hmm. I will. All right, that's good. Yes, ma'am. I have. The first time I went back was a couple years afterwards, and thanked all the nurses for putting so much time and energy into my life. And they spent hours at night talking to me and hanging out. Because as you saw in the video, I was face down for 2 hours every day. They flipped me in what they call a striker frame, which thank God they got rid of that thing. Anyways, yes, I did go back. It's weird when I return, but it's in the past. At the past. Yep.
Thank you so very much. I'm so
You're welcome.
honored that I could be here today to hear you. I loved how you talk about the young man in the hospital room with you, and as you talked about it, it's just like God speaking to you audibly, not just within, not just on the inside, but God wanted to know, wanting you to know how much He loved you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the young boy Kevin, who was like your inspiration, kept you within your purpose where God would have you. Was Johnny Erickson Tata one of your mentors?
Yes, absolutely. And she wrote the foreword in my book, and wonderful, wonderful lady. And just true to her faith also. Yeah, and it's important to mention that, you know, this is my story and this is my life, and I have big faith. You know, faith, family, and friends is my important ingredient. And without faith, it's pretty tough. I have hope, and not that those without faith don't have any hope, but it does help to have faith.
And as one MSW to another, I would love to get your contact information. I am an employee of Department of Children and Family Services, and as a trainer, I would love to see how you could, how we can get you on board to help to inspire some of our social workers. So
Awesome.
I know who to follow up with regarding that.
She has business cards. Gracie Lee does. You can't really, you know, deny that.
Thank you. Your daughters are beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Wait a minute. They might want to answer. Oh. Yes, up there at the top.
Did you see or speak to Jimmy when in the hospital after you left, or?
You know, no. And he would be, well, he'd be about 41 years old. So I've been thinking about trying to make that happen. There's ways now, I'm sure, to check in on him. But I couldn't get the private information. I did try. They wouldn't give out that personal information.
Sorry, can we get you to repeat for future?
Oh, I'm sorry.
questions?
Okay,
Just go
yes.
out on the stream.
Yes, I can do that. Thank you very much. What was it? Oh, Jimmy, the guy in the hospital, the little boy, she asked if I had been in contact with him since that experience, and the answer was no, I have not. And yeah, I guess you heard the answer. You can hear the answers. Yes, sir.
Why do you think it is people are so negative? So many people are so negative now, especially.
Well, part of it is we put negativity out there and things that we have access to and we view. And a lot of the entertainment in the past has got a bent, put it towards negativity. And we don't inspire our children enough to be more positive. I think sometimes our responsibility as parents is to demonstrate in our actions how to take a situation and turn it into something positive. So I would think we need more role models. We've lost on showing individuals how to be positive by our own actions and how to turn something from a tragedy to triumph. Oh, the question. The question is, why is there's such a, what was the question? Negative?
Why is there such negativity? Why are people so negative?
Yes.
So much.
Why is there? So I think, wait a minute, the question? I'm just having fun with you guys. The question is, why is there so much negativity when we have so much? And you heard my answer. Stuff does it. We're using people and loving things, and we need to get back to loving people and using things. We're isolating ourselves. It's easy to be depressed if you're alone, and I think we need to work on hanging out, socializing a little bit more. And that's going to be harder as we've connected to the technology of the day. Yes.
Ron, how's your brother? Do you close?
Yes, we are. He's great. He still messes with me, and I mess with him. He's got a couple of children, and his boy just graduated from high school, so he lives in relatively, about 20 minutes from us, so we get to see family. My dad's still alive. He's 74, and real positive role model for me. Oh, the question was... Ronnie, why don't you just ask? The question was if I'm still in contact with my brother, if I'm still close to my brother. And yes, I love you, brother. Any other questions?
I know you said
Yes.
that you have camp attitude that's
Yes.
been developed.
Yes.
Is there a plan, or are there other camps that have now been created, or has that been expanded to national parks and that type of thing to give people more ability to see spaces?
That's a good question. She said she knows about Camp Attitude, Oregon, and was wondering if there's other camps now. I'm thinking across the nation. My original dream was to see that in every state, and I do have some opportunity in Maui. I know. It wasn't my fault. There's a gentleman that's offered some property in Maui over by Lahaina. So, do you want them to ask you a question?
I don't care.
Okay. Anybody want to ask my little 9-year-old question? You can text it to her.
What do you want to do when you?
I want
Repeat the question. She asked, what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a nurse because
Good.
I do a lot with helping my dad, and I like helping people with disabilities and people in the doctors or the hospital.
Ooh. You can get that $10. Right?
What does Ronnie want to do when she grows up?
When I grow up, I probably just want to be a professional dancer. I really like it.
So you think you can dance? And she goes, there's my daddy. I'm going to get up there. good questions. It's good for the girls because there's not a lot of people that have the experience they do, and they've never seen the wheelchair. From the time they were able to crawl, they could get on my feet, and I could get close to the ground. They ride on the chair, and they just didn't see the wheelchair. When I roll into their schools, because I've spoken there, I'm kind of popular. It's the only place I want to be popular. Any other questions? Great. I appreciate that. Come on by up here and take a look. I do have some prints. I will be signing for a little while. I have some of my books too. It's my autobiography. It's all these stories. It's powerful. I'm supposed to tell you not to read it at night because you might not get any sleep. You will cry. My mom kept diaries. Some of those things were written in there. I know some of you are tough. You may not cry, but you'll want to cry.
What about passing out?
She's dying to pass out these business cards, so go ahead and start passing them around. Let people get a hand. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you.